Hello everyone, this is Debbie Giordano. You're watching Valley Homes on TV. We air on Channel 26 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. And the show also airs on Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. in case you want to watch it. And we have Todd Flesner, our co-host here with Stern Mortgage.
Good to be here, and
Hi, Todd.
we're talking appraisals today.
We are. I know, how exciting. And we have Michael Wiest of Wiest Appraisals. We've been working together probably close to 20 years.
20 years,
I want to say at least. And Mike, you're here in Milpitas.
That's correct.
Know the Milpitas market, but I know you do appraisals all over the valley.
Yeah, that's correct.
All over. Okay, good.
I've done work over most of California.
Well, I'd like you to go ahead and plug your phone number and your email address. We'll do that now and then also do it at the end of the segment.
Okay, the phone number is 408-942-1590. And my email address is mewiest, W-I-E-S-T, @comcast.net.
Great, because I know after the show, a lot of times folks have questions and further information that they want to know. So let's get into the heart of it, appraisals. You know, it's a very unique field, determining value on a home. And I guess my first question is, you know, what is an appraisal?
It's an unbiased opinion of value as of a specific date. It's essentially that's what it is.
Okay, and who pays for the appraisal, or the banks, or the buyers, sellers?
It depends. It depends on who the client is. Usually it's a client who pays for the appraisal, but not all the time. If an appraisal is being used for mortgage lending purposes, sometimes the lender will pay for it. Sometimes the homeowner will pay for it.
Okay.
And it all depends on.
Well, good. Well, maybe we can get into a little bit more, about specifically, what does an appraisal really entail? What is it that you do as an appraiser to come up with that unbiased value for the property?
Right.
What I'll do when I go to a property is I'll look at the property itself, determine what we have, and then I'll go out and look at other properties that have sold, that are listed, that are currently pending. I'll analyze the market to see what direction things are going. And what I'll do is I'll measure all the influences that affect the value of the property.
Which could be street location?
Could be anything. Street location, view.
Amenities near the property?
In the current conditions, it could be, whether or not the market's declining, whether or not it's appreciating. It could be it's the size of the house, the condition of the house, how it compares to the other properties.
Overbuilt for the neighborhood?
Could be that, yeah, absolutely.
Be that? Okay.
Could
what
be
about the motivation of the seller? Does that enter into it as well?
Does it enter into the value of the property or the
That's
price?
a good question.
Yeah.
We just talked about that offline.
Because we're in an environment now where there are these bank-owned properties and short sales, and the motivation of that seller may be different than somebody who is not in a financial hardship position.
That's
and so
correct.
does that enter into the value?
It can, but what we're asked to do is determine the most probable price in terms of money at what the given market conditions are. And if we're in an area, let's say, that have nothing but motivated sellers, they basically take over what the market conditions are for that immediate neighborhood. Now, if we have one motivated sell among many other properties, then you can see that's an apple on a box of oranges. It's not one that's appropriate to the valuation of that property.
Right.
Banks many times will look for several different values. They'll look for a value that they need to sell it in a certain marketing time. They'll look at one that under a normal marketing conditions, and we're asked to go out and measure all those things and determine the value at each of those.
Well, let me just do a quick follow-up with that. Do the banks influence your decision on how you're going to know?
They'll ask for a specific value, and then they'll ask for a value many times under a certain marketing time. That doesn't influence what I appraise a property at. What it does is...
You're independent of the process.
That's correct.
Right.
That's
now, speaking of independence, I understand there's some real changes coming to the whole appraisal process and how the system works coming May 1st, something known as appraisal independence.
And because this is your neck of the woods in financing,
well,
how you're dealing with appraisers.
It does. Yeah. Traditionally, I've been able to select an appraiser with whom I have a relationship, and I trust their work, and they have a history with me. That's all changing come May 1st.
I'm not a particular fan of some of those changes. I think there's been some abuses in the system, and I
Probably.
think that's caused some of these things, but be careful what you ask for, because now we're entering a whole different environment.
Right. So for folks who are watching this, appraisal independence really means that there's no contact at all between the appraiser and the person who's ordering that. So
That's correct.
either the realtor, the person who's arranging the financing, there's an independent third party whom I must now order that appraisal from, who would contact you or any other appraiser.
Well, then let me ask the question as it deals in my industry as a realtor. Do I not meet the appraiser anymore at the property? Is there no more?
I don't think that'll ever change.
That'll ever change, okay.
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of the processes behind how we get the appraisal done and some of the background work that goes into that will be changing. So, relationships that have been established over the course of years, where an appraiser and a lender may have, had a good bond. Not that there's anything improper going on there, it's just a natural business relationship. Right. But that's going to change.
Well, let me ask this. I don't mean to jump topics, but I'm very interested in this because it deals with my industry. What would be the difference between an appraisal and, say, a comparative market analysis?
Okay. Or a
CMA,
broker price
opinion.
Either one. The broker price opinion is done by the broker to establish a list price on a property.
Right.
Okay. What the appraiser do, the appraiser is going to do a more in-depth analysis of everything, and it's going to determine the value of the property for all the reasons that it's worth what it is. And a broker won't necessarily do all the work that an appraiser has to do to determine that.
Well, then is it fair to say that when you come in with an appraised value, that may not necessarily be what the property could sell for?
Oh, absolutely.
On the market?
Absolutely.
And how does that fluctuate or differentiate? Do you understand?
Well,
is there a percentage, or if say we're in a declining market?
The difficult thing in appraisal is determining exactly all the things that affect a potential buyer. We're supposed to take all those things that have a potential influence and try to measure those things.
Okay.
But on any given day, any buyer might pay anything for a property.
Absolutely.
We can't always support what it is that they want to pay for the property. However, somebody might do that. We're supposed
Would they
to take,
pay more?
Oh, absolutely.
Than that, or less?
Well, you just don't know what the motivations of the buyer are.
Which is what Todd was speaking about, is that motivation.
Right, that's an
level.
intangible thing that oftentimes...
You can't measure.
Right, exactly. You can't find the data points from other sales.
That's
or what it
correct.
costs to build a property from scratch.
That's correct.
Or the things that you look at in terms of objective information.
And those values, let's say, and you live in a great area, Weller Ranch, where some of the homes back there in the rear of the development have a view of the hills.
Correct.
I mean, that's an intangible value that somebody may want to pay
Right.
top dollar for that unfiltered view of the hills or something of that
Right.
nature that you may not come down into the actual appraised value of the home, but in a market value might.
Well, sometimes we can measure that.
You can measure
you
views.
can
and
measure views, but you have to do that with comparable sales or comparable listings or pending, something that's actually physically determinable. Where and that could change as market conditions change.
So an appraiser's value can actually be subjective to some level. I know you don't
Well,
like to hear that. You're probably a scientist and you like numbers, and maybe you have an engineering degree like a bunch of other people out there watching TV. But it comes down to some level of subjectivity. And I'm curious, could a person hire two appraisers and get two different
Oh,
values?
absolutely, because their opinions of value. What you want to be able to do, though, in each report that you write is support why it is that you make all the adjustments that you do and support it with fact.
Okay.
A good appraisal will do that.
Okay.
They'll take physical facts and provide you the support for the adjustments, the appropriate adjustments, to determine what, let's say, the view is worth compared to a property that doesn't have a view.
All right. That's fair enough. Makes sense.
Well,